Ever since its debut on May 26, 2012, Skyrush at Hersheypark has been one of the most controversial roller coasters in the world. You either absolutely hate it or you sing its praises for the entire world to hear. I had the opportunity to take my first rides on this Intamin Wing hypercoaster in June of 2021, and I can safely say that I fall into the camp that absolutely adores this thing. But what exactly makes Skyrush so good, and what can you expect when you go out to ride it? Welcome to CLT Coasters. My name is Josh, and this is my complete review of Skyrush. If you're familiar with Hersheypark, you know that Skyrush was crammed into a small area of the hollow section of the park. The coaster itself actually sits on around 3 acres of land, which explains its highly compact layout, and it was built right next to the park's PTC wooden coaster, Comet. The walk up to Skyrush's entrance is a little awkward, but the vibrant yellow lift hill is impossible to miss, and if you're lucky, the path underneath the ride's track will be open to visitors. This was unfortunately closed for me, but there are some wonderful photo and video opportunities down there. There's no theming to be found once you reach the entrance, but Skyrush is still very visually appealing. The station has a nice clean look to it, and there's even a built-in clock. Once you enter the queue, you'll have the option to wait for the front row, or you can continue through the regular queue that fills rows 2 through 8. I never went for row 1, but the option is there if you want those unobstructed views. Regardless of which queue you choose, you'll have to climb up some stairs to get to the station, or there's an elevator for those who can't climb up themselves. Upon entering the station, you'll come face to face with the most polarizing part of Skyrush, the trains. The coaster has two 32-seater trains with 4 cross seating, and these trains are extremely open and freeing for the upper body, but it's the restraint system that causes some controversy. Riders are restrained with an over-the-shoulder lap bar, and many people complain about being brutally stapled by them to the point where they feel a lot of pain in the legs. This has resulted in the coaster receiving the nickname Thigh Crush, but I'm here to tell you that Thigh Crush is a myth. I didn't feel any leg pain throughout the entire ride, and the lap bars are honestly some of my favorite restraints I've ever used. I just don't understand the hate for them. When boarding the train, you can choose from 2 different types of seats. The middle 2 seats are pretty typical, with riders sitting directly above the track. Both of the edge seats, however, are wing seats, and they hang out over the sides of the track. These wing seats are even more freeing than their neighbors in the middle, and they kick the intensity up a notch. As for the best seat, the back left wing seat is absolutely the way to go, but I unfortunately didn't get to ride there. I only rode twice, once in row 7's right wing and once in row 5's left wing, and I actually preferred row 5, so I would prioritize getting the left wing. Getting into the ride experience, Skyrush starts with a bang as you shoot up a 200-foot cable lift hill at around 20 miles per hour. It only takes about 10 to 15 seconds to reach the top, and it definitely gets your heart pumping, but that's nothing compared to what comes next. As you go over the lift, you get absolutely yanked down the best first drop I've ever experienced, a 212-foot plummet taken at 85 degrees. The craziest part of this drop isn't the height or even the angle of descent. It's the fact that there's this little kink in the track on the way down. So after being thrown from your seat on the initial descent, you get a second insane moment of ejector airtime on the way down. It seriously feels like the ride wants to fling you straight to the moon. Some describe it as a car crash gone right, and I most definitely agree in the best way possible. You then get pummeled with positive G-forces as you take a low-to-the-ground right-hand turn, which can produce upwards of 5 Gs. This is followed by my favorite airtime moment of experience so far, a glorious camelback that delivers some insanely powerful and sustained ejector airtime. In case you couldn't tell yet, Skyrush is extremely intense, and is by far the most intense roller coaster ever written to date. A left-hand bank turn takes you into a second camelback that's on par with the first one, and you'll be soaring above your seat once again. After another turn to the right, Skyrush changes it up with a truly wild stangle dive. You go into it banked to the right, and then you get rapidly thrown to the left while experiencing some vicious lateral Gs. Another compact turn to the right takes riders into a twisted airtime hill, combining the laterals of the aforementioned stangle dive with the airtime of the hills earlier in the ride. This is followed by yet another airtime hill, but this one is smaller and packs a ridiculously strong, albeit less sustained moment of ejector. At this point, the ride is pretty much over, and passengers head through a bank turn to the left into the final brinks. The compact coaster is just 3,600 feet long, but you'll reach speeds of up to 75 miles per hour as you careen through one of the most extreme ride experiences on the planet. As for the other aspects of Skyrush, the setting is simply beautiful. Most of the track is located just above the waters of Spring Creek, and the bright yellow track looks amazing up against the water. The lift structure looks really sweet as well. It's got a nice sleek look to it, and something about it intimidates me a little bit. It may be the fact that there are only 2 main supports, but I really like it either way. Some have complained that Skyrush is rough, or that it has a nasty rattle, but I personally didn't notice any roughness on my rides, and I sat in wing seats both times. Maybe I was having too much fun to notice, but I definitely thought there were rougher Intamins in the park. Speaking of Intamin, in typical fashion there's a real possibility that the ride will break down during your visit. It also doesn't help that Skyrush was the prototype Intamin Wing coaster, a model that we've only seen twice. The other one is Flying Aces at Ferrari World Abu Dhabi, which opened in 2016. The last thing I'll really bring up here is the unique little aspect of the final brake run. For those of you who end up hating the restraints, the lap bars are programmed to release slightly on the brakes to set your thighs free. I didn't know about this going in, and I thought it was pretty funny, and it's good to know that Hersheypark has listened to their clientele. So what's my final verdict on Skyrush? I think this is one of the greatest roller coasters in the world without a doubt. With some of the strongest forces you'll ever find and a ride system unique to the Western Hemisphere, this is the perfect ride for thrill seekers craving a big old dose of intensity. I had it as my number 1 coaster for a time, and it still sits inside my personal top 5. On a scale of 1 to 10, I don't even have to think about giving it a 10. It may be on the shorter side, but Skyrush puts no track to waste. This thing blew my mind on both of my rides, and I'm anxiously awaiting the day I can get back on it. So those are my complete thoughts on Skyrush, Hersheypark's Intamin Wing Hypercoaster. If there's anything from this review that you agreed or disagreed with, or if you have any general thoughts on the coaster, be sure to leave a comment down below. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to check out CLT Coasters on Instagram. The link is in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care, everybody.